Hey guys, welcome to today's vlog. So about 15 minutes ago, I was just sitting here trying to decide if I should film. And I thought to myself, well, I'm leaving for church in about an hour, so I should probably just film tomorrow. But then I thought again to myself, and myself said, why don't you just film now? So here I am. I turned on the camera. I am just wanting to process my thoughts. I don't exactly know what I'm going to talk about. Let me rephrase. I have a couple topics that I kind of want to rant about, talk about, I don't know. And we'll just see where things go. Also, this will kind of be a health update, I guess, because I want to talk briefly about where I'm at in my health and with this protocol that I am transitioning to the next phase of. So a really quick health update, and for those of you who are new, the reason why I started my YouTube channel was to share some of my health journey and show you what I'm going through and see how I can help others out there who are going through similar things or just going through hard times in general. And of course that's turned into lots of other things as well. So I'm recovering from chronic illness, basically chronic fatigue syndrome, but really it's due to chemical toxicity. It's been a long process of getting down to the root of the issue, and now it's really exciting because we have a pretty good plan, or at least there's a lot of things that we can do to address the toxicity. So I have lots of videos on that. If you've got more questions, you can look at my Instagram, my other YouTube videos. I've answered lots of questions on this topic. But anyways, for the last 6 weeks, I've been doing kind of a preparation phase for this comprehensive detoxification protocol that I started today. Basically what that first 6 weeks looked like was supporting my body at the cellular level, supporting mitochondria, helping open up those detoxification pathways. And so there were certain nutrients that my body was needing that we supplemented with. And on top of that, I was doing lots of infrared sauna and kind of a protocol around that. I would take glutathione and a B complex before. I would dry brush my skin. I would sweat a ton, shower, and take a binder afterwards. I've been doing the sauna for a couple months now, a few months now. I'm not really sure how long. I truly believe it's making a difference for me. It's been minor differences. It's nothing drastic, but many of you know, just seeing progress at all, it's a big deal because for so long I didn't see progress at all, and if anything I would just feel like I was slowly getting worse. So that's great. First 6 weeks was a little up and down. I mean, very much so up and down. I had some good weeks and some bad weeks and some random other symptoms that I normally don't deal with come up. And so anyways, today I started this new protocol. I am very hesitant to share exactly what I'm doing. I mean, I think it's a great protocol. So basically, my functional medicine practitioner recommended this protocol from this really great healthcare company. So it's like a package that's out there and available, but I just know that sometimes when I share that I do things, other people are like, I deal with the same thing as Mandy, I have the same symptoms, so maybe I should do that too. And yes, maybe you should, and also maybe you shouldn't. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, and whatever I share that I'm doing, it's sharing my experience, and it's not saying, hey, I think that you should do this. I'm not making medical recommendations, but since this is only 1 month and I really just don't know how it's gonna go, I think I wanna wait until the end of the month to share my experience. That may change, but a month isn't that long, and yeah. So after the month of this protocol, I'll meet with my functional practitioner. We'll go over how things have been, and we'll talk about next steps from there. And we'll see if it makes a noticeable difference. I don't know. I'm hopeful that I could see some really positive changes over the month. And I'm praying and believing that, who knows, this could be a really significant month heading towards healing, getting rid of such high levels of toxic chemicals and some heavy metals on top of that. That's a process. It usually takes a while, so it's likely that there may be another protocol that I'll start immediately after this one. Anyways, that's kind of the update on that. That's that. So other updates on life. I mean, last week was Thanksgiving. That's fun. I love Thanksgiving and I love food and my family. I made these super good pumpkin muffins. I like combined 3 different recipes to make them. Well, I kind of made it my own recipe, but combined a couple to make it paleo, and I used erythritol actually instead of sugar. Yeah, I ate lots of yummy muffins and that was great. I've got the recipe for that on my Instagram if you're interested in that. And school has been super busy and super fun and really intense in some ways. I'm studying to become a nutritional therapy practitioner and it's so much fun, and I'm so excited about what I'm gonna be able to do as an NTP. Yeah, I love what I'm learning. It's super cool. It's exciting that this weekend I'll be going to my first in-person workshop for my school. I'll get to do this 3 times and I'll be with all my classmates and learning some of the functional evaluation, which is a hands-on portion of what I get to do. I can't wait to talk about that more and just get to use that in a practice. So I'm really excited about that, but I'm also nervous just because traveling can already be a little bit hard on my body, and I've just heard these weeks are exhausting, or these weekends, and I'm just really trying not to be nervous or anxious and just pray that things go well. A couple other things I want to process out loud. I could probably put more thoughts together and do a whole video on this, but just to give you a little insight on what God is doing in my life right now and what I'm learning, I like to share this kind of thing with you every so often. There's different seasons in my life where I feel like I'm really reminded of the significance of spiritual warfare and the prevalence of it as well. For those of you who are new, I love Jesus with all of my heart, and it is a huge part of my life. My faith is so central to who I am, and because of that, I love to talk about it too. If you don't believe the same thing as me, you're still welcome to watch my videos, of course. I'm gonna be bold about it because I believe in Jesus and experience freedom from following him. You guys know my feet always fall asleep because of the way I sit on this couch, but it's the best way to sit for the camera. So talking about the prevalence of spiritual warfare, yeah, there's multiple things that have come up that have just reminded me of this, and I'm not gonna get into details, but the reality is that the spiritual world is really real. There's a battle that's constantly going on between good and evil, and it's raging all around us and raging inside of us sometimes too, or oftentimes too. You know, it's tough because it's nothing that we should be afraid of, because we know, spoiler alert, we know that the battle is one that Jesus wins. So we can have peace knowing that the enemy still tries to sneak in and get a foothold on our life in whatever way that he can and pull us away from Jesus. That's really his goal is to pull us away from Jesus. And it's just something that's been heavy in my heart lately, and I've just been doing some studying on the topic, and I'm continuing to be more diligent in just the way that I pray. I really, really believe that prayer is powerful, and I've seen the power of prayer in action in my life and in many others. So just the words that I speak and the thoughts that I think, I've been really trying to keep it focused on Jesus. And you know, there's a lot of darkness in this world, and I just really want to do the best that I can to bring the light of Jesus to the surface and shine the light in the dark places. And I kind of can feel a little bit cheesy saying that, but it just matters so much. That's all I'm gonna say about that part for now. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about for a minute is I just care so much about nutrition and wellness and all of those good things, because it does matter. Food is either contributing to disease or is helping keep you from a disease state. So many people, I've said this before, but they're digging their own grave with their fork and knife, and they just don't even know it. I just believe it matters to God. I know it matters to our health and to our well-being and to being able to do all that God's called us to do. But anyways, what I notice all the time is just this abundance of people having disordered eating habits, and it just breaks my heart, partly because I have been there before. It's so hard. I've never had a full-blown eating disorder. I've never been diagnosed with that either. But there were times when, I mean, I thought I needed to diet because I wasn't perfect in my body, and so I was trying to calorie restrict, or, you know, think about Thanksgiving and be like, oh, I ate all this pie, I have to go burn it all off on the treadmill. And so, you know, I would try to eat the healthiest that I could, and it really wasn't healthful foods a lot of times. It was just like, oh, well, this bread is more low calorie, so I can get away with a little bit more here, but I can't eat too much. And you know, there are times when I focused so much on calories and exercise, and it was just not mentally healthy, and I knew it wasn't, so I didn't tell anybody about it. And it was harming my health, mentally and physically. Before I got really sick, I was not doing well digestively, hormonally. There's probably just things that I thought were normal. I mean, there definitely was. For so many people, we just don't have a healthy relationship with food, and there's so much stigma around so many foods and so much confusion. And I know for me, like, I didn't even know what calories were for so long, and once I discovered it, it was like, how am I not obese? I eat so much food, and I just thought it must be because I'm dancing. And then when I didn't, it was like, oh man, like Pinterest says only eat this many calories, which is the recommended amount of calories for a 2-year-old, which I didn't know that, and most people, you know, don't know that and think like, oh, that's a healthy amount. And there's no focus on real foods, no focus on nutrient density, and we're not supporting our brains to be able to have good mental health and be able to function optimally. And oh, it hurts my heart because I've been there. And I know what it's like to be obsessive about it. I know what it's like to struggle in your own body. And I've been in places where people will say things about how I look, and I just won't believe it. And I am certainly not perfect at this now. To be very transparent, I really try hard to not get to the obsessive point of eating. There's an eating disorder called orthorexia, which just has to do with being completely and utterly obsessed with being perfect in your healthy eating. And I'll admit there's times where my feet are falling asleep again. There's times where I can get very picky and slightly obsessed about it, and I will always just try to tell James, because, you know, I'll tell him like, I'm stressing about how I know this food's probably cooked in vegetable oils or canola oil, and, you know, when we're eating out or whatever, and I really don't want to eat CAFO meat, which is, you know, like factory farmed meat. But then if I got a vegetarian option, then all there is just grain-based stuff, and that makes me feel terrible, and vegetable oils make me feel terrible. So it's like, what do I do? I will be totally transparent and say, I'm not perfect at this, and I'm not perfect at having a healthy relationship with food. And it is a process, and I'm growing in it every day and figuring out what works for me. It's tough, it goes both ways, because so much restriction isn't good, and it's not healthy, mentally especially. But then eating the standard American diet, that's not good either. Eating these Franken foods that aren't really food, that, in my opinion, is causing so much more harm. And there's many things that aren't worth completely eliminating out of your diet. And for people like me too, and many of you dealing with chronic illness, there's a lot of things that you genuinely can't eat without it causing a lot of pain and issues. And I am great with saying no to those foods, because health means so much more to me. When I have that why and that healthy mindset of I'm doing this for my health, then yes, like that is a good restriction. This is a topic that I could talk about for days and days, and I would like to talk about more as well, because it matters so much. But I don't want this video to be years long. So what we can recognize is that mental health around eating is a big problem for a lot of people, for women and men. It happens to men too, guys. It really does. And on the other hand, there are a lot of women especially, and probably men too, that don't realize that they are chronically under eating or massively over exercising, which I think is super common now, and they don't realize that they're over exercising when that is not helpful to them. It's really interesting how common under eating is, and how I think a lot of times, you know, we just don't have healthy hunger signals because we've just been restricting for so long. And man, just so many people aren't eating enough. Oh, I want to do what I can to help encourage people and help lead people to have healthier relationships with food. And so obviously this is just me like kind of ranting and processing my thoughts. But I want to speak to you if you're struggling with your relationship with food right now, or maybe even your relationship with yourself, because that's so tied in. I would just tell you and remind you that you are God's masterpiece. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are where you are right now for a reason and a purpose, and God is using this time in your life. What each person needs to do is going to be so individual, but I know for a lot of women out there, they just need to stop getting on the scale every day and weighing themselves. That's not healthy for their mentality right now, and for a lot of people that's not going to make a big difference in maybe the results that they're wanting to see. For a lot of people, you need to just focus on eating real whole foods, properly prepared and nutrient dense, that will be supporting your body and your brain. When you eat the foods that you're designed to eat, your body is going to function the way it's designed to function. If you're watching this and you're really struggling with disordered eating, I would really encourage you to get help and find someone to work with. I really hope to work with people with disordered eating in my practice, because I'm just not a fan of the, okay, you're restricting and you're eating, so just eat whatever you want. I think we have to properly fuel our bodies and our brains to truly be healthy and to be able to be in the right mindset to make those decisions. Okay, so let me know if you'd like to hear me talk more about having a healthy relationship with food. Just let me know down in the comments. I hope hearing me process some of these things are helpful to you in some way. I just want to help you be well, because I know it's hard to love and lead well when you're not well. And I know being well helps you be all that God's created you to be. And of course, God can use you in the midst of sickness and in the midst of trials. That's so much of my testimony, my message too, is to embrace where you're at, embrace the pain, embrace the illness, embrace whatever, and let God use it. I've been blown away at how God's been using me sharing my story, but I can't wait until I have all the energy and the health to be able to really run and work hard to do what God's called me to do. So, okay. Anyways, thank you for watching me rant for a while. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to see more things like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notifications, comment, just telling me what's up. You can always leave me suggestions. Anyways, I will see you in the next video. Bye. Ow. Ow, what did I just do? I just hurt my elbow.